life. Sadly, he died in 1793 at the age of only 37. You will find in any Burns book poems about nature, food, drink, humour, and women. So there are many love poems, among the best in the world, written about the many ladies he had known over the years. These are two of his most famous poems, To a Moose and Jean. He wrote about various Jeans, but this one was about his long-suffering wife, Jean Armour. To a Moose was supposedly written in one day, the same day as Burns was ploughing a field on his father's farm and dug up and destroyed a wee moose's nest. It tells of his sorrow at having done so and his sympathy for the wee moosey. At the end, Burns also reminds us that no one knows what the future holds. So appropriate today. Right. To a Moose. Wee sleekit, curin, timorous beastie, what a panic's in thy breastie. Thou needna start awa sae hasty wi' bicker and brattle. I would be laith to rin and chase thee wi' murder and pattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. I doubtna whiles, but thou may thieve. What then, pair beastie, thou mun leave. A demon icker in her thraves a small request. I'll get a blessing with the leave and never missed. Thy wee bit hoosies too is ruined. Its silly was the winds are strewing, and naething now to big a new in, o foggage green, and bleak December's winds ensuing, baith snell and keen. Thou saw the fields laid bare and waste, and weary winter coming fast, and cosy here beneath the blast thou thought to dwell, till crash the cruel coulter passed out through thy cell. That wee bit heap of leaves and stibble has cost thee money a weary nibble. Now thou's turned out for all thy trouble, but house or hold, to thole the winter sleety dribble, and Cranrach called. But Moosey, thou art no thy lane in proving foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes of mice and men gang after gley, and leave us nocht but grief and pain for promised joy. Still, thou art blessed compared with me, the present only toucheth thee, but och, I backward cast my ee on prospects drear, and forward though I canna see, I guess and fear. Jean's a wee bit lighter, you'll be pleased to know. Jean, of all the airts the wind can blaw, I dearly like the west, for there the bonny lassie lives, the lassie I loo best. There wildwoods grow and rivers row, and mony a hill between. But day and nicht my fancy's flicht is ever wi' my Jean. I see her in the dewy flowers, I see her sweet and fair. I hear her in the tune for birds, I hear her charm the air. There's not a bonny flower that springs by fountain, shaw, or green. There's not a bonny bird that sings, but minds me o' my Jean. Now I take pleasure in introducing Brian Johnson, who will give us the immortal memory, which will tell us a little about the life of Burns and his works. Thank you. Mute me.
And you need to switch the sound on. We're not hearing it.
company of others. It feels different to be holding our event tonight via Zoom. And it got me thinking, what would Robert Burns have thought about a Zoom Burns supper? Well, we know that Rabbie was very sociable. We know that he craved the company of others, and I think the attention of other people. Burns was active and innovative. He and his brother established a debating society when he was only 21 in his local town. He attended dancing classes to give my manners a brush, he said. His father was utterly opposed to this, but he went ahead anyway. And Rabbie didn't mind being that wee bit different. One of his close friends, David Siller, said, his social disposition easily procured him acquaintance. He also said he had a certain satirical seasoning. Sometimes people would observe him with suspicious fear. Apparently Burns was the only man in the parish who tied back his hair, and in church his plaid was a particular colour, black and white, and he wrapped it in a particular manner around his shoulders. So I think that Burns would have been thoroughly supportive of our attempt to maintain a tradition by being innovative, sociable, brave and a bit different in holding a Burns supper via Zoom. Anyway, I should tell you a little more about Burns because as most of you will know, that's what an immortal memory is supposed to be. Robert Burns, a man of contrasts. From a simple and humble farming background to a man of great society in Edinburgh, among the internationally famous, and a man who became internationally famous himself, and indeed is still famous 262 years after he was born. So born in 1759 to a farming family in Alloway, Ayrshire, one of 7 children. He was a ploughman, then a poet. When he and his brother took charge of the farm after his father's death, they were busy farming, but Burns found time to sing, to write, and to publish. In 1786 he moved to Edinburgh, where the self-consciously elegant, fashionable, and intellectual loved him. They applauded him. Sir Walter Scott described Burns as glowing with life. Maria Riddle commented, the rapid lightnings of his eye conveyed the flash of genius. And his voice was melodic and expressive. 2 or 3 years later, his period in Edinburgh came to an end, and he moved to our parish here in Dunscore to farm at Ellisland. While at Ellisland, Burns wrote over 130 poems and songs. Probably the best known, Tam O'Shanter, was written there. We were walking down by the River Nith, past Ellisland Farm last Friday, and I was reminded of Burns' great respect and constant affection for animal and plant life, and how he believed we are all equal creatures. Sheila told us about this in the poem To a Mouse. So if you take a walk just down past Ellisland Farm, you'll see a notice board marking the very field where Robert was sowing seed. While doing so, he heard a shot and witnessed a wounded hare escaping. Burns wrote to his friend Alexander Cunningham of his scorn for the inhumane fellow who could shoot a hare in the breeding season. And I think that was symbolic of the message which Burns believed firmly and tried to convey, equally relevant today, of the importance of being together and respecting equality among all creatures and men throughout the world. I wanted to check out another couple of associations between Dunscore and Burns, and I found a couple. Burns was a member of the church here for 3 years, and also he founded a library, a circulating library initially, and along with Robert Riddle of Friars Karst, the library was later brought back to Dunscore and operated here for over 3 years. In 1791, Burns moved from Ellersland to Dumfries. He had been an unlucky farmer. He lived in Dumfries for 5 years. He worked as an exciseman and had some success, but some problems too. At just 37, he passed away. Many attended his funeral. The numbers were unparalleled, and thousands flocked through the streets following his coffin to St Michael's Kirkyard. Robert Burns truly was and has been for over 200 years an internationally famous character, a man who has brought recognition to himself, to poetry, to literature, and to Scotland. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to propose a toast to Robert Burns. Robert Burns. And now, I'd like to introduce Kath and Matthew, who will sing.
Thank you, Brian. That was most instructive and enjoyable. And Matthew and I'm afraid are not as professional as Becky, and we couldn't manage to pitch ourselves to any backing group. So we decided we would record ourselves singing unaccompanied. Now, the benefit of Zoom is that you can sing at because everybody's muted, so you can sing at your own pitch, or you can sing out of pitch, or you can do exactly what you like. You can try and drown us out, which might be even better. I'll tell you just a little bit about A Fond Kiss. It was written in 1791, and it was after Burns's final meeting with Mrs. Agnes Craig McElhoe, also known as Clarinda or Nancy. And then she left after that. She left Edinburgh to go to Jamaica to join her estranged husband, apparently. And there's a little footnote in our book which says, the verses are beautiful, but the idea of either party being broken-hearted is purely fanciful. So you can take your pick on that. So do your best to drown us out if you can, and please lustily join in with A Fond Kiss. We should have that.
A fond kiss, and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. Deep in heart-wrung tears I'll pledge thee. Warring sighs and groans I'll wage thee. Who shall say that fortune grieves him, while the star of hope she leaves him? Mean a cheerful twinkle lights me, dark despair around benights me. I'll ne'er blame my partial fancy, naething could resist my Nancy, but to see her was to love but her, and love forever. Had we never loved, say kindly, had we never loved, say blindly, never met or never parted, we had ne'er been broken-hearted. Fare thee weel, thou first and fairest, fare thee weel, thou best and dearest, thine be ilka joy and treasure, peace, enjoyment, love and pleasure. A fond kiss and then we sever, a farewell, alas, forever. Deep in heart-wrung tears I'll pledge thee, warring sighs and groans I'll wage thee.
And now Brian's going to give a toast to the lassies. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Kath and Matthew. That was really excellent. Thank you very much. Well done. You are professional. It was fantastic. Thank you. And doing it live. That's great. So it's going to be a simple toast. All we want to say is recognise everyone here tonight, but in particular, a toast to the lassies. To the lassies. And now I'd like to introduce Joe, who will recite Tam O'Shanter.
Well, first of all, I had to put the light on so I could see this, so I'm off to a great start. I've been asked to say a wee bit about the Scots language and then about Tam, and I'll give you the story because it's a very long poem and we're very mindful of the newbies to the village who maybe don't know too much about it. Gaelic and Scots. Gaelic was one of the main languages in Scotland, all over Scotland. There was Ayrshire Gaelic, there was Galloway Gaelic spoken well into the early 19th century. And James VI spoke Scots. It was the language of the people. It was the language of the royal court. It was the language of the justice system. And it was only when he became James I that English, as it was, took over. And as far back as the 16th century, the differences between Scots and English, as it then was exactly as great as that of Portuguese to Spanish is today. So that's your background. Now, the story of Tam is very, very simple. A very habitual drunkard on a very, very stormy night eventually leaves the pub and is going home through the wind and the storm, and he sees a light flickering in Alloway Church, and it's warlocks and witches having a black mass. And one of the witches is very young and very comely. The rest are all withered old hags, and she's wearing what's known as a cutty sack, which is a short shift that her granny had made her, but she's kind of bursting out it in all directions. And Tam gets quite excited by this and roars out at them, and everything goes black and he gets pursued. Now, witches can't cross running water, so he tries to make it to the bridge. And as he's going over the keystone of the bridge, the lead witch, who is the young, beautiful one, and is very powerful, as we hear in the poem, grabs his horse's tail and manages to come away with a big handful of it. I'm mindful of saying she pulled the tail off, because when I told this to my daughter's 6-year-old twins, they burst into tears because they thought that the tail had been ripped entirely off the horse, and the horse was very upset. So Tam manages to escape the witches, and there's a lesson there for everybody. Now, I've put down some Scots words here that I think you'll need to know in the poem. Chapman Billy is a pedlar, and gate is way or road, like through gate or man's gate. Bogles are ghosts or spirits. Yuskavat is whiskey. A winnock bunker is a window seat. Presses are cupboards. The Haley table is the holy table, which is the altar. Carlin is a witch. Cutty Sark is a short shift. And Vaunty is proud. Right, here we go. I used to be able to read this all the way through, but I'm 70 and my brain cells are leaving me every day. Right, and I'm more nervous now doing this, reading it, because I know most of you than I was when I did it at Ellisland Burn Supper last year. So at least I wouldn't see these folk again, but I have to see you a lot. Here we go, Tam O'Shanter. When Chapman Billies leave the street and drouthy neighbours meet, and market days are wearing late and folk begin to pack the gate, whiles we sit boozing at the nappy and getting fou and unca happy, we think not on the lang Scots miles, the mosses, waters, slaps and stiles that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sulky, sullen dame, gathering her brews like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth found honest Tam O'Shanter as he frae air ae nicht did canter. All dare, whan there a tune surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses. O Tam, hadst thou but been sae wise as ta'en thy ain wife Kate's advice, she taught thee weel thou was a skellum, a blethering, blustering, drunken blellum, that frae November till October, ae market day, thou wasna sober. The ilka melder wi' the miller, thou sat as lang as thou had siller, that every naig was caught a shoe on, the smith and thee got roaring fou on, that at the Lord's house, e'en on Sunday, thou drank wi' Captain Jean till Monday. She prophesied that late or soon thou would be found deep drowned in Doon, or catched wi' warlocks in the mirk by Alloway's old haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dams, it gars me greet to think how money counsel sweet, how money lengthened sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to your tale, ae market nicht Tam had got planted unco richt, fast by a ningle bleezing finely, wi' reemin swats that drank divinely, and at his elbow suitor Johnny, his ancient, trusty, drouthy crony. Tam looed him like a vera brother. They had been fou for weeks together. The night drave on with sangs and clatter, and aye, the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with favours secret, sweet and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus, the storm without might rear and rustle. Tam didna mind the storm a whistle. Care, mad to see a man sae happy, e'en drowned himself amang the nappy. As bees flee hame wi' lades of treasure, the minutes winged their way wi' pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, o'er all the ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread. You seize the flower, its bloom is shed, or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white, then melts forever. Or like the borealis race that flit ere you can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, vanishing amid the storm. Nae man can tether time nor tide. The hour approaches, Tam maun ride. That hour, o night's black arch, the key stain, that dreary hour he mounts his beast in, and sick a night he tacks the road in, as ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as 'twould blaw on its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand, the deil had business on his hand. Wheel mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelpit on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst holding fast his gid blue bonnet, whilst crooning o'er some old Scotch sonnet, whilst glowering round with prudent cares lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, where ghosts and hullets nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snow the chapman smurred, and past the birks and meikle stane, where drunken Charlie Brack's neck bane, and through the whins and by the cairn, where hunters found the murdered bairn, and near the thorn aboon the well, where Mungo's mother hinged hersel. Before him Doon pours all his floods. The Dublin storm roars through the woods, the lightnings flash from pole to pole, near and more near the thunders roll, when, glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirkalloway seemed in a blaze. Through ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn. We titney, we fear nae evil, we Uskava will face the devil. The swat sae reamed in Tammy's noddle, fair play, he cawed no deals a boddle. But Maggie stood right fair astonished, till, by the healing hand admonished, she ventured forwards on the light, and bow Tam saw an unco sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance, nae cotillon Brent knew frae France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathspeys and reels put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there sat old Nick in shape of beast, a towsy type, black, grim and large. To gie them music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and gat them skirl, till roof and rafters all did dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses that showed the deed in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrip slight, each in its cold hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the haly table a murderer's banes and gibbet arms, twa spanlang wee unchristened bairns, a thief new cut it frae a rape wi' his last gasp his gab did gape. 5 tomahawks with blood red rusted, 5 scimitars with murder trusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, whom his ain son of life bereft, the grey hairs yet stuck to the heft. Wi' mair o horrible and awfu, which seems to name would be unlawful. 3 lawyers' tongues turned inside out wi' lies, seemed like a beggar's clout. 3 priests' hearts rotten black as muck, lay stinking vile in every nook. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleekit, till ilka carl and swat and reek it, and coosed her duddies to the wark, and link it at it in her sack. Now Tam, oh Tam, had they been queens all plump and strapping in their teens, their sacks, instead of creasy flannin, been snow white 1700 linen. Their breeks o' mine, my only pair that yince were plush o' gid blue hair, I would ha' gi'en them ath my hurdies for a blink o' the bonny birdies. But withered beldams, auld and droll, rigwoody hags would speen a foal, louping and flinging in a crummock. I wonder didna turn thy stomach. But Tam kent what was what fu brawly. There was a winsome wench in Whalley that night enlisted in the corps. Lang after, Kent on Carrick shore, for many a beast to dead she shot, and perished many a bonny boat, and shoot baith meikle corn and beer, and kept the countryside in fear. Her cutty sack o' Paisley harm, that while a lassie she had worn, in longitude though sorely scanty, it was her best, and she was vaunty. Yeah, little kent I reverent granny, that sack she coughed for her wee nanny, wi' £2 Scots, 'twas all her riches, would ever graced a dance o' witches. But here my muse her wing maun cower. Thick flights are far beyond her power, to sing how Nanny lap and flying. A supple jade she was and strang, and how Tam stood like ane bewitched, and thocht he's very een enriched. E'en Satan glowered and fidged fu fain, and hotched and blew wi' might and main, till first a caper sign another. Tam tint his reason a' together and roars out, "Well done, cutty sack!" And in an instant all was dark, and scarcely had he Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied, as bees bizz out wi' angry fight when plundering herds assail their bite, as open pussies mortal foes when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd when "Catch the thief" resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, wi' money and eldritch screech and hollow. Na Tam, thou'll get thy fairing. In hell they'll roast thee like a herring. In vain thy Kate awaits thy coming. Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speedy utmost, Meg, and win the keystone o' the brig. There at them though thy tail me toss, a running stream they durna cross. But ere the keystone she could make, the feint a tail she had to shake. For Nanny, far before the rest, hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle. But little wist she Maggie's mettle. A spring brocht off her master hale, but left behind her ain grey tail. The carlin clocht her by the rump, and left puir Maggie scarce a stump. Now, wha this tale of truth shall read, ilk man and mither's son tak heed, whene'er to drink you are inclined, or cutty sacks rin in your mind. Think you may buy the joys o'er dear. Remember, Tam O'Shanter's mare. Phew. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now at this time where normally there would be a speech where we would toast the lassies, and it would be funny and adventurous and amusing and things, and then there would be a reply, which would be a toast to the laddies, and this would be done by a woman. But we've done without the speeches tonight, and we're just going to have a toast. So ladies, may I call upon you to raise your glasses and toast to the laddies. The laddies. And now we're on to Pauline, who is going to, she's provided the words and the music to Auld Lang Syne, sign, not zine, and you don't cross hands until you come to the last verse. Now we're only singing verses 1, 3 and 5, and we're singing what's known as the newer tune, which is the tune that you will all probably be more familiar with. So, and this will almost bring us to an end of the formal bit of the evening, and then there's going to be an open mic spot after that for further entertainment. So stay tuned, and thank you very much. Polly.
Hi everybody. Thank you very much for everybody who's taken part. Oh, sorry, can you hear me? Yep, okay, sorry. Thank you. I'm going to let you all into a secret now that I haven't told anybody else yet. Well, it's not really a secret, but if any of you get the chance, ask Pauline what was in her glass when she was posing with it at the end there. Wasn't what you'd think it was. Right, I'd like to just say thank you to everybody who's put a huge amount of effort into getting tonight organised. People have been working really hard behind the scenes to get tonight organised. And thank you all for joining in to make it, to make it worth our while, for putting the effort in. A final thanks to the church, because without them letting us use their Zoom account, we wouldn't have been able to go ahead with tonight, because obviously we've gone on for far too long for a 40-minute session. Now, when I sent the emails out, I sent out requests to people for to do extra turns at the end. So we've got a few people who've let me know that they want to do things. If you would like to make a contribution now, as I said, this is, as Joe said, this is the end of the formal proceedings, but we've got a few people who would like to do some extra things at the end. We've got Becky, how are you? Can you indicate whether you want to do anything else or not? Or have you had enough to drink? I can't see your hand. That looks like a negative. Is that right? Unmute yourself for a second. You've had too much to drink. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we've got Dougal, who played the pipes for us so beautifully before, who's going to make a contribution, and Carrie, I hope, and then finally Joan on her harp, if that's the way things work out. But if anybody else wants to get involved, we'll slot you in the meantime. So are we okay to go over to Dougal, Matthew?
Yes, we are. I'll just sort that in a second.
Okay, sorry. I need to mute myself. I should have asked if Dougal was all right.
He's asking if you're all right.
Yeah. I'm going to play another couple of tunes on the pipes. I hope you don't mind. And you'll need to bear with me while I just tune my drones for a couple of minutes. But some of you who might have been to the Edinburgh Tattoo might recognize the first tune. It's called The Black Bear. And the second tune is called Father John McMillan of Barra. So just give me a couple of minutes to tune my drones.
So who's next, Anne?
Carrie, if Carrie's available.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Hey, okay, so when I was 10 years old, because I was the loudest in my class.
No surprise there.
You're so funny. My big scary headmistress, Mrs. Simpson at Shawhead Primary, said, right, you're going into the Burns competition, which I actually went on to win. She made me thoroughly memorise a poem called Address to the Toothache. So hands up, if anybody's ever had toothache? I have. So this was written in 1786. So imagine having really bad toothache, there's no root canal available, not even any paracetamol. So the old boy had to put pen to paper and try and describe his symptoms. So without further ado, I'm going to try and do this in my 10-year-old way I was taught. I still kind of know it off by heart, but I've got the words just in case. Okay, Address to the Toothache by Robbie Burns. My curse upon your venom sting, that shoots my tortured goons along, and through my lug gies money a twang, with non-vengeance, tearing my nerves with bitter pang, like racking engines. When fever burns, or ague freezes, rheumatics gnaw, and colic squeezes, our neighbours sympathise to ease us with pity and moan. But thee, thou hell of all diseases, I mock our groans. Oh, doon my beard the slavers trickle, I throw the wee stools o'er the mickle, while round the fire the gigglets cackle. To see me loup while raving mad, I wish to heckle were in their doubt. In all the numerous human duels, ill-hairsts, daft bargains, cutty stools, or worthy friends laid in the mills, sad sicht to see, the tricks and knaves of fascia fools, thou bear'st agree. Where'er that place be priest ca hell, where all the tones o' misery yell, and ranked plagues their numbers tell, in dreadful raw. Thou toothache, surely bear'st the bell among them all. O thou grim mischief-making chill, that guards the notes of discount creel, till daft mankind aft dance a reel in gore a shoothache. Gie o the faces of Scotland's wheel a towman's toothache. Yay!
Okay, do we have anybody else? Okay, so I think now is Joan there? Can we go to Joan? Right, you're all ready? Good stuff. You need to unmute yourselves. You need to
I haven't made Jonah a co-host. Where is Jonah? I can't see her.
well, she's on the top. Can she not? Can I not ask her just to unmute?
No, you
There we are.
Can you see? It's in. Can you see them? In 883. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
What's that like?
That's it. That's fine.
Can you see us now?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, good. I don't know if it's perfect.
Right.
Hello, everybody. This is an entirely new experience for, well, certainly for both of us. Thank you for asking us to come along. We had a bit of a panic earlier. We couldn't get on, but thank you to Matthew and Kathy. They got us there. And here we are. As I say, totally new experience. Anyway, I'm Joan. I play the harp. This is my husband, Ian. He sings. And together, we live in that little hamlet down the road called Glenmidge. And together, we call ourselves, what do we call ourselves?
The Last Chance.
Last Chance. Work that one out. Our ages. That's the key. Anyway, now Kath and Matthew sang A Fond Kiss so beautifully. And I'm afraid we're going to do the same song, but it is such a beautiful song. Why not do it again? And I was going to do a bit about the history. Kath, you did it too. All I will do is say about the tune. Burns, when he wrote the beautiful poem, his words, for his Clarinda, he used, the original tune was Rory Dal's Port. I'm not going to play it now. It's a lovely tune in its own right. The tune that Kath and Matthew sang and we're going to play is Burns. He was a great collector of songs, and he found this one. We think it is a Gaelic song, a sort of ancient Gaelic song. It's beautiful anyway, but we're doing the same tune. It'll sound a wee bit different. Ian singing, I'm harping, just so you get it right. Right, give me a moment.
I need to book away.
Can you all hear us? Because nobody says.
Yes.
I've never
They're all
done this.
muted, you see.
Oh, they're muted. Oh, you can say anything.
That's
you
a
like.
good idea.
Great. Yes, I should get nervous now. I've got the right glasses. I've got my music glasses on. Sorry, this has been a little stressful. Right. A Fond Kiss, is that what we're doing?
Kiss.
Right, okay.
Let's go. A fond kiss and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. Deep in heart run tears, I'll pledge thee. Warm sighs and groans, I'll wage thee. Who shall say that fortune grieves him, while the star of hope leaves him? Mean a cheerful twinkle lights me, dark despair around benights me. I'll ne'er blame my partial fancy, reason could resist my Nancy, but to see her was to love her, love but her, and love forever. Had we never loved, say kindly, had we never loved, say blindly, never met, and never parentage, we had ne'er been broken hearted. Fairly will thou first and fairest, fare thee will thou best and dearest, thine be ilk joy and treasure, peace, enjoyment, love and pleasure. A fond kiss and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. deep in from tears, I pledge thee. Warm sighs and groans, I'll wage thee.
Okay, thank you very much. That was lovely.
Okay, I forgot to say, very important, the harp and voice arrangement was by Isabel Meares, a very important lady, much
Okay.
loved in the harp world. Right, over to Ian. I've got to change key.
Now, I've got another one that we've heard before tonight, but this time with the original old tune. It's a famous Auld Lang Syne, which is internationally used all over the world, from Russia to the south of South America. Auld Lang Syne is sung at the end of meetings, and we have. Can't read my writing. Anyway, it was written before Burns died, but it wasn't published until after his death, and it has just gone worldwide after that and is international. But we're singing it to the old original
This is the
song.
Original one. Pauline played beautifully the one we all know today. This is Burns' original, the tune to which he originally wrote his words. Something like that. Anyway, I'm going to play it through once. Ian will sing 3 verses, join in. But the other interesting thing is that an awful lot of the music to which Burns wrote his words, they can all be interchanged. So if you don't want to sing Auld Lang Syne, sing My Love Is Like a Red, Red Rose. Believe me, it'll fit. But I can't hear you. So I didn't know if you were all quiet because you were spellbound. I realised I can't hear you. It's quite a good thing. Right. Okay, here we go. Original Auld Lang Syne. I'll play it through once and then 3 verses.
Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot for Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my Joe, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. We twa pedals the burn frae morning soon till dying, but seas between us bray a road sin all lang syne. For all lang syne, my Joe, for all lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for all lang syne.
Last verse.
And there's a hand my trusted friend, and gives a hand o' lime. We'll take a recht good whirly walk for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my Joe, for old lang syne, we'll take a regular whirly walk for old lang syne. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. That was lovely. Okay. Has anybody else got anything? I think we decided that that would be the final end of the.
You can't follow up like side.
I know. I'm sorry. I realised that as I was about to say it. I knew what you were going to say, Joan.
We'll go away. We'll go away.
I know. Okay. So what we intend to do now is just leave these. You can unmute yourselves. You can have a chat if you want. If you wish to go, then thank you again for everybody for coming. It's been, it's been really nice to see some faces that I haven't seen for such a long time. And hopefully it won't be long before we can actually see each other in the flesh, as it were, and rather than on the screen. So good night, everybody, or stay if you wish. We'll keep it open for a while. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Anne, for all your hard work organising.
Yeah, well
done, everybody.
Thanks, Dan.
Everybody's put a lot of effort in. Oh, whose is the flag? Who's somebody been making a flag?
Thank you, Anne.
Lucy's back.
So, I did forget to thank Tim earlier for providing the food, but I don't think he's made it into the group. So, so we'll just have to tell him we did say thank you to him, because without him delivering all the food, I think we'd have all been slaving over a hot stove. So
We were.
Well, we were.
we were.
Yeah.
Well done, everybody. Good job.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good job.
Thank you.
Oh, it's the kids. It's done.
Hi, Hamish. Hi, Catherine.
Who's that?
Hey,
Hey.
Margaret. Hi,
I'm
Margaret.
very confused
Hello,
with my
hiya.
voice.
It's the cat.
John.
John.
Yeah. Hi, Margaret.
Here.
Maybe spotlight. Where's your flag?
Yay!
Colin should have a wave in his waistcoat.
Yeah, well, he has. Oh,
Who's
you look
all
like
on
you're about to take it off there, Colin.
Or who's on a glass of wine?
Off the Mars bar.
Mars bar, Colin.
We saw the Mars bars. What were they like? Were they good?
Yes.
Very sweet.
Naughty but nice.
I'll have another wee willy waft.
Can I just say to everybody,
Leave the cat alone.
this was all Anne's idea. She was the one who came up with it all on her own, and then we got sort of roped in, if you see what I mean. She went round finding folk that could do Burnsian things, if you see what I
Right.
mean. But it's all down to Anne Walton. It was her idea.
Thank you,
and she's the
Jo.
one
You can stop now. Thank you. You can stop that now. That's fine.
Cheers,
I
Anne.
didn't have a clue. I just bullied people into doing things.
No, Anne, you're really good. Well, brilliant.
So,
Well, I wasn't originally on mute.
Right, okay.
I love this thing.
Hi Archie, hi Sheila.
Hiya. Good to see you.